It's showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
I have of late, but wherefore I know not, lost all my mirth, foregone all custom of exercises, and indeed it goes so heavily with my disposition that this goodly frame the earth seems to me a sterile promontory. This most excellent canopy the air, look you, this brave o'erhanging firmament, this majestical roof fretted with golden fire, why it appears no other thing to me than a foul and pestilent congregation of vapors. What a piece of work is man! How noble in reason, how infinite in faculty, in form and moving, how express and admirable, in action, how like an angel, in apprehension, how like a god. The beauty of the world, the paragon of animals, and yet to me, what is this quintessence of dust? Man delights, not me. It is Saturday, June 5th, 2021, and as we all know, that means it's Constitution Day in Denmark, the birth of Danish democracy. Thank you for taking time away from your party to listen to our little show, because this is Saturday Matinée. Those words were from the melancholy Dane himself, Hamlet, Act 2, Scene 2, from his eponymous play. And just like Hamlet would be nowhere without his excellent good friends, here they are, my own Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, Rob Cabasco and Steve Sarmento. Good lads, how do you both?
Oh, how Satmat, how I've missed you so. Oh, wow. Amazing. Good day. Good day to you both.
Good day. What is the matter that you read, sir? Words.
Words.
Great to see you guys.
Yeah, you
Absolutely.
do. We have a phalanx of Phoenicians.
Yes.
All three of us in Phoenix at the same time at the same thing. Isn't that amazing?
The sun's up and it's 120 degrees already.
That's right. Oh, God, I'm sweating so bad. Jeez. This is the time of year when we don't talk about the weather in Phoenix. Hey, talk to us in October through February and we won't shut up about
No,
it.
listen, and for those of you who know, like, I think it's tonight the night that the low is going to be 80. And
Yeah,
yes, that's degrees
so.
Fahrenheit. You Celsius people, you'll know. That's
Right.
ridiculous.
All the people in Denmark are like, we don't understand.
Yeah, it's outrageous. It's just outrageous anyway.
So my first question, of course, is what have you both been watching?
I have been catching up on a series that a lot of people had mentioned. I think Pete had been touting the merits of the show. So my wife and I have been on our Apple Plus account watching For All Mankind.
Oh, welcome to the family.
Kidding.
Yes.
Rob and I love that show.
We're
He
about
turned me onto it.
halfway through season 2. Yeah, actually we're more than halfway. I think we've got 2 episodes left. So yeah, loving this show. Well,
yes.
Ron Moore,
Right, yes.
can't go wrong with that. So yes, that's where we're spending our time.
Oh man, you got some good stuff coming too. The second half of that season is amazing.
I'm doing that with my wife, and then with my daughter, she got me hooked on some anime, My Hero Academia on Hulu.
Interesting.
So, which is really fun. The whole premise is you've got a universe where like 20 years ago, something happened and people started being born with what they call quirks, which are like superpowers. So you've got a whole, like 80% of the population has these quirks. So different superhero powers. And our main character is this little kid who really, really wants to be this awesome superhero, but is born without a quirk. And he applies to get into the university program or whatever they call it. But he's granted this quirk from this superhero. And so now it's sort of his quest to become the best superhero ever. And it's all about the drama of being in school and the cliques and all that stuff. And it's amazing. It's just a really great, fun show, really smartly written. If you're not into anime, I think this might be a good entry point because it's not all the crazy weird stuff that you get in anime with like Death Note and some of these other things. It's just really about superheroes and being a teenager. So a lot of fun.
I've heard good things about that one. My daughter's also in anime. She is not into that one because she's also a hipster. So she's like, ugh, everybody's into My Hero Academia.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Because within the subculture, you've got to be even more niche. Yes, I
That's
understand.
right. What about you, Rob?
Well, okay, I will admit we got caught up on several season finales of network episodic television that we watch. So there was that. And we did introduce my daughter, as this is my daughter's final summer with us. She goes off to college in the fall.
Oh, I was going to say your final summer. Is this Logan's Run?
This is it. We're like, you're done.
The crystal started flashing.
We have legally completed our obligation to your development. You are now an adult. Leave. It's the Hunger Games. Good luck. So, but No, we realized that this is the last summer where, yeah, I mean, right? She'll be still part of the nest. So we have a whole list of movies that we need to get in before it's over. And this week's was Jerry Maguire, which was very enjoyable. My only, wow, it has aged very well. It's still very funny and charming. The only thing that gets you is that 25 years later, and yes, 25 years later, very much of a not serious look at mental health and concussions in sports.
Yes.
And those are the two things that have not aged well at all in the movie. But other than that, it's fine. And then last night, my wife will hate to hear this. We were going through HBO Max and just seeing, hey, what's been newly added to HBO Max? And we stumbled on Eyes Wide Shut, and we fast forwarded through Eyes Wide Shut. And I'm going to tell you, speaking of things that haven't aged well, I still don't understand anything.
Well, I don't know that one from birth.
No. Yeah, but it was worse. There was a whole subplot that I was scanning through that I went, I don't even remember this subplot. What happened? Anyway,
I always thought with that movie, if you re-edit it and add a soundtrack full of pop music, you could just make it Tom Cruise Can't Get Laid, and it would be a whole much better movie.
The piano chords that just
add a beat.
Yeah,
it'd be fantastic. I have been actually venturing back to the movie theater since last time I was on Satmat. I have been 3 times. I took my 13-year-old daughter to see Jaws. I knew I wanted to make sure that she saw it in the theater because there's just something about certain movies that have to be experienced in the theater for the first time, and that was great. That was my first time going back in 18 months. It was great. I went in there nervous and I'm like, is this still gonna be weird? And there's social distancing and we wore masks and all that stuff, and that was fine, even though she and I are both fully vaccinated. I sat down and it was like coming home. I was like, oh, I've missed this so much. And it was just got into the rhythm of it and it was fine. And she loved the movie. Wasn't scared at all, but that's not really a surprise. Right. But it still holds up. Even after 45, 46 years, whatever it is, the story he tells is great, and the fact that the shark wasn't working makes it a better movie because you develop the characters that much more. She was snarking a little bit, but she's also 13, so that was going to happen. Then later that same week, I took her to see the 35th anniversary of Stand By Me. And that went terribly. She hated that movie. I thought it still held up really well, but as I watch it, and now with 2021 eyes and father eyes too, it's very dude heavy. There are only 2 women who speak in the movie. I was trying to she the slurs she couldn't get past. She couldn't get past the rough language, and I was like, okay, I grew up in the the 70s, 80s. They were still talking like this then. Yes. It was like all you had to do was update the metaphor. I'm like, I don't not saying this is right or good, but I'm telling you, the kids I grew up with, this is how they talked. This is how they treated each other. This is how they treated me. This is very, very accurate to that time. But I think there is something about the boys on bikes thing that doesn't always translate to the other side. And then my wife and I went on a date and we saw Cruella. And so that was a major release and a major day, and so that was a pretty much I'd say 75% full theater. And once again, I felt fine, I felt comfortable, I felt good. And then by that point, they had taken down the mask mandates, so we didn't even have to wear masks in the theater. And so it was good. The movie has its issues. Did they do a film board or something?
No, because we did Quiet Place 2. So that was my first time back in the theater, actually. In the same so my wife and daughter and in one row, and Andy and his wife and his son in the row behind us, watching A Quiet Place 2. So we were able to have a little discussion afterwards, and then we talked about it on the members exclusive film board that just dropped earlier this week. So
I just don't want to steal anybody's thunder with my thumbnail.
No. I think there's plenty of word out there that it's a bit messy.
It's a bit messy. Yeah, I'd say it's good. I enjoyed it. I had a good time with it, but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense why it even exists. I sort of watched it and I was having a good time, and I would say Disney has some Act 2 problems. This has one of the best Act 2s of any live action Disney movie. It's so good in the middle. And then they get to Act 3 and you go, huh, oh, that's where they're going. And they end it and you go, so you just don't care at all about what follows. Because by the time you get to the end, it doesn't line up with anything. It doesn't line up with 101 Dalmatians, the animated, the live action, the novel, like anything. And you kind of go, oh, okay. Like, are they setting up for a cinematic universe or a sequel? I don't know, but it's so strange. Like it's you get the feeling that it used to be really vicious, and every revision it just got nicer and nicer and nicer until they were finally like, okay, now we can also sell this to children and it's okay. And it's sort of it ends up being a little toothless by you get to the end. When it's an origin story of a supervillain, you kind of think that there's going to be some major dark stuff by the time you get to the end. Right. Nope. You are absolutely totally fine, and you walk out with a spring in your step and a song on your ass because this has the more needle drops than pretty much anything that's not called Guardians of the Galaxy. It is like they are wall to wall. It's a Quentin Tarantino movie. They're just wall to wall with the 70s. But the songs are all really good, but at the same time, slow down.
All right.
So, anyways, that was my movie going experience.
No, it's great to be back in the theaters, isn't it? Isn't
Rob,
it
have you been out to the theater yet?
No, I'm planning for sure Black Widow in July.
Oh, yes.
In July.
Sure.
That's a month. Dude,
I know.
Kyle and I are going to come down there. We're going to grab you and drag you into a theater because it is something. It is so much fun.
Yeah.
The social distance.
Oh,
I mean, because even Quiet Place 2.
Support your Harkins.
Packed. Yes, it was packed, but it was spaced out. And with, the Harkins recliners, you've got plenty of a buffer. And there's so many good things coming into theaters in the next couple weeks.
And so is F9. So, seriously though, the best way, honest to God, the best way to see that movie is going to be on the biggest possible screen.
Oh, of course.
Yes.
It's just like those, you lose some of the the impact when you're watching it, on your phone. Like it just doesn't have quite the same zing.
Well, they're going into space in their cars. Okay.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Space cars, Rob.
All right. Maybe you might have me at that.
Oh, wait a minute. Maybe we'll see if we can get a SatMat group together.
Yes.
We'll all go.
I would be down for that.
A bunch of extra hosts all packed in the theater watching, Vin and the boys. And girls, I guess.
Nice.
All right. So that's those are update on where we're at. Let's talk about the future. Let's talk about trailers. I got on there first because I was shocked that no one had put this on there because it's one of the best trailers I've seen all year, and it's Edgar Wright's new movie, Last Night in Soho.
The lights are much brighter there. You can forget all your troubles, forget all your cares. So go downtown. Things will be great when you're downtown. No finer place for sure. Downtown. Everyone's waiting for you. Everyone's waiting for you. Do you believe in ghosts?
I've been eagerly anticipating this. It was something that was supposed to come out last year, so it's been done for a while. And then, of course, 2020 happened, and we all know how that went. And Edgar Wright was determined that it had to be seen in a theater. He's been a strong advocate for this. At the time, he seemed like he was insane. Now he seems like he was a prophet. We'll have to wait till October, unfortunately. But I am so excited about this. I have no idea what's happening in the movie, but I am so excited about seeing it. What did you guys think of the trailer?
Oh, it looks okay. There's a moment. This is not a spoiler, obviously, to the trailer. You're not knowing what's going on, but when she walks through whatever that portal is, and you see the Thunderball lit poster on the marquee.
Yeah.
Oh, immediately my eyes widened and I went, whoa. And then everything after that, you've just got to see the trailer. I mean, yes, it blows your mind. In a way that I will say, I have seen other trailers of other movies that will go unnamed that blow your mind, and then the movie doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I actually think this will make sense, as crazy as it looks. I think there is a very interesting psychological, and maybe there's time movement. I don't know what parallel dimension there is, but I am definitely into this. This looks great.
Yes, I'm so excited because it looks like he's treading into a new genre. Because although Shaun of the Dead is a horror film, it's lighthearted, it's fun, it's a wacky comedy. This gets really dark at the end of the trailer of like, we're going full on like horror ghosts. We got arms busting through the floor. I don't know what this is, but it's a different type of Edgar Wright film that I am all on board for because it looks gorgeous, amazing cast. I'm all in. Seeing this on the big screen right there.
Yeah, yes. I know. October can't come fast enough. I love Edgar Wright. I love everything that he does. He's so precise in everything he does, and you can watch his movies over and over again and see all these little subtleties. So I can't wait to see what he does in a whole new genre that he's done before.
Well, just one thing to add is I love at the end of the way when you were mentioning that, Steve, the hands coming through the wall and the floor, that moment where he freeze frames the shot. And there's the crack.
Yes.
So 70s. I mean, like I was like, okay, now you totally got me. No, it's
Suspiria in there.
Yes.
Yeah, right in there. And so that's obviously Anna Taylor-Joy, who, if anybody's seen the Queen's Gambit, she's the star of that. Our boy Matt Smith, the Doctor.
Yes.
And one of her final performances, Dame Diana Rigg, is also in this movie, which I was surprised. Wow. And Terrence Stamp, which I didn't know about. So I think might be something going on with visiting these people now, like maybe like they're old now, and so this is telling the story of then.
Oh yeah.
But is Matt Smith playing a young Terrence Stamp? That would be interesting.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Interesting.
Right? I don't know. So it should be a good one. So October 22nd, only in theaters. Last Night in Soho. Rob, you had the next trailers. Tell us about your trip to the future.
Okay, so when I was looking, very well done. When I was looking for trailers this week, I'm like, okay, what's something fresh? Okay, so I see this. This is a movie called The Tomorrow War, starring Chris Pratt.
Okay, none of you are my child. Has anyone seen Miri? Aww.
We are fighting a war 30 years in the future.
Is this a joke?
Our enemy is not human. We need you to fight.
I got drafted.
I will be back.
Why is this happening? What about the teacher's deferment and the veterans deferment?
If I don't go, they're going to draft you in my place. But if something does happen to me, you and Miri will be taken care of.
If something happens to you, Dan, 70% of draftees do not return.
Sometimes a man does what's best for his family, not himself.
Move your shirt, please. What's this for?
It's just a test.
Oh, a seatbelt. Was it a driving test? No? You don't have jokes in the future?
This device facilitates your jump to and from the future war.
1 minute to jump.
Oh, here, buddy. Take that. You just whip it around like that.
How are you so calm?
Long story.
Are you ex-military?
Yeah. Kind of a short story, I guess.
3, 2, 1.
I had not heard of this. The backstory is the movie was supposed to release on Christmas last year in 2020. It got delayed. It got bought, of course, by Amazon bought it. All right, typical because it's a Paramount movie. And they went ahead and are bringing it out on July 2nd on Amazon Prime. Okay, here's the thing. Yes, it is looks a little bit cliched of this aliens attack Earth and, fighting ensues. But what got me was the concept that is in the trailer is, no, this happens in like the year 2051. The war's not going well against aliens, and they have found a way to travel back in time and draft people into fight for the future. That got me. Like that I found interesting. And I was like, okay. And the trailer, you know what? this is a big budget, full effects. This is not your typical the weekend Netflix or Amazon release. No, this was a legitimate full-blown movie.
Right.
It surprised me with the cast. J.K. Simmons is in it. Like I said, Chris Pratt. It surprised me that, wow, this is a movie that they gobbled up and they are literally just putting out on Prime on July 4th weekend. Like, I'm going to watch it just because I want to see what happened.
This is one that, this should be like the big, July 4th, go in the theater, see it with your families thing. So I don't know how to take this whole Amazon Prime thing, because this is a movie that's, I think, is going to suffer from the small screen because it is a really cool concept. I've all love sci-fi stuff like this. Okay, what are we going to do? Yeah, it's going to tread into, familiar territory, whatever. That's fine. But I want to go see aliens and big explosions on a big screen on the 4th of July weekend. Chris Pratt. Yeah, fun. Yeah, is there a hidden disaster behind this? I don't know. I sure hope not, because this should be, maybe not something that's going to break new ground in any area, but just to execute well on the tropes that are in this, and you're going to be fine. That's the thing is, I'm trying to remember. Oh gosh, which episode was it where we were? I think it was A Quiet Place 2, where we talked about if you can just competently execute a movie, you're going to be just fine. And that was, sort of the Quiet Place. Wasn't as great as the first one, but competent. And yeah, it's entertaining. That's what I'm expecting out of this. But the fact that they're not putting it in theaters, I don't know. Yeah, that makes me wonder, makes me worry, because I thought, how can you screw this up? Right? Yeah. You got time travel, you got aliens, you're recruiting people. The little twist hinted at in the theater of like, maybe they can stop this war from happening somewhere in the past. I thought, okay, I've got my stakes involved in this. I'm on board. So yeah. I'll be there, July 2nd on my Amazon Prime, seeing what happens.
Yeah, I'll preface my comments by saying I also will be watching it that weekend. However, the first teaser they put out was awful. There have been a lot of bad trailers this year, and that was terrible. And it really turned me off to it. The one that Rob picked this week, like, oh, they actually are showing the story. They're showing all of it. I'm like, oh, okay, this is much better. But I'm still coming from a place of, ooh, I don't know. And the fact that I'm fine with them keeping the reveal of the enemy. So at the end, you see a brief flash, everything. Yeah. I was like, are they other people? Where are they? But then you see it as sort of a creature type thing. It makes me a little nervous that there is some kind of a twist coming. And I was like, oh, please don't. Like, I mean, there's time travel. Like, you have aliens, you have time travel, you have war. That's enough. You don't also need to add an M. Night Shyamalan twist onto it where man is the real enemy. No,
that's right.
Okay.
So, yeah, they accidentally brought George Washington back into the future, and so they're fighting colonial soldiers in the future who are the real villains. Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Wait, is that a movie?
It was vampire. Was it Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter? It's in the same cinematic universe, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Establishing connections we didn't know about. There's been a secret universe being built behind us.
That's right, about presidents in science fiction. There we go.
Well, yeah, you're right. I mean, Yvonne Strahovski is in this from Tuck, and also for those of you who like me who are playing the Mass Effect relaunch that they just put out. She's also in that. J.K. Simmons. And unfortunately, Betty Gilpin seems to be playing the wife. And
that was disappointing.
She's so fantastic. And I'm like, she's going to get like 5 lines and be like, you need to come home for our son. Like, oh, you're so... Like, everybody's got to pay their dues, and I get it, but like, what a waste of talent.
No, because she was such a badass in The Hunt. I'm like, no, I want to see her get drafted and fight alongside her husband.
Glow. I mean, I love her so much.
And Glow.
She's so tough. And just to be the wife. I was like, oh man, Hollywood, do better.
Right.
So we'll see. Like I said, I'll be watching it, and I'm sure we'll talk about it in the future. When's it coming out, Rob?
July 2nd. So on Amazon Prime.
Only on Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime.
Another Bezos. So, Steve.
Yeah.
We've been to the past. We've been to the future. Now take us inside our own minds.
Wow.
That's right. I bring you Inception 2. Reminiscence by writer-director Lisa Joy.
You're going on a journey. A journey through memory. All you have to do is follow my voice.
We're closed.
I know. I'm sorry it's late.
We have time for one more job. When the waters began to rise and war broke out, nostalgia became our way of life. There wasn't a lot to look forward to. So people began looking back. Nothing is more addictive than the past.
No. Put me back. I understand.
She has moved on, and you should too.
People don't just vanish. To find where she'd gone, I had to know where she'd been. Was she running from the past? Or racing back towards it?
How much did you really know her? How much did you know?
Who was she? Who was she when not with me? You think you want answers? Well, you don't. Where is she? Where is she?
In the trailer, it said, "Oh, one of the creators of Westworld," and I was like, "Oh, okay, which one? Oh, it's Lisa Joy." Which, to her credit, has this. She hasn't done a lot of directing, but she has, I think, some significant credits to her name when it comes to writing with Pushing Daisies, Burn Notice, Westworld. But to me, there are just so many things that hint of Inception. Of we've got a device that allows people to get into their memories, and we're avoiding the present by lingering in the past, and there's a love interest, and does she exist, does she not? That's the one thing that just made me cringe so much about this. And I thought, well, let's see who's in it. Well, we've got Hugh Jackman, we have Rebecca Ferguson, we've got Thandie Newton. I thought, okay, well,
Tandiwe.
I'm sorry, Tandiwe.
I'm not correcting you to be a jerk. I'm saying like she just officially clarified this, so I wanted to make sure that we were getting that right.
And you are absolutely right in correcting me on that. So I mean, great cast on this and good credentials on it. I don't know what to make of it because it looks great, but I just keep thinking this is Inception all over again. It's a movie that it was on the blacklist in 2013. It's coming to HBO and theaters in August. This is one that, I'm probably going to be a sucker and I'm going to go see it in the theater because, again, big spectacle on this. Want that experience in the theaters. But in the back of my mind, I'll be thinking, is it going to be what you think it is? Or is this going to be a disappointment? And I'm really torn on this one. This is one that I want to love this movie, but I am just cautiously optimistic about it because I don't know how well it's taking on a lot in the trailer. I'm like, holy cow, there's so much story here. How long is this movie going to be? And how are we going to craftfully navigate all the pieces that it seems like you're setting up in here? So that's what I brought because I feel like it could be great. It could be something we mock. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I kind of had those same vibes. I like the neo-noir part. That sort of that there's a mystery and there's tough guys and detectives and all that stuff. But the more they're pushing that, go into the Inception Matrixy mind history thing, I was like, oh man, this is just gonna be one of those really boring psychological thrillers where it's like, is it real? Is it his memory or are we live? Okay. But same thing. Apparently the screenplay was really strong that she wrote. She's got some great credential from Westworld. It has very Westworld sort of look to it too, with the sort of post-apocalyptic sort of flooding city thing, like something terrible has happened there. But I don't know, it's got a lot stacked against it, so I'm hoping they can pull it out because I don't get that same sort of what's going on vibe I got from the first trailer for The Matrix, where you're like, what is this? What's happening? It's sort of like, this looks like a lot.
This is not a cut. I'm interested in this, but I will tell you as I watch the trailer, and this is a weird mashup I'm about to do. But when it got to it, I said, well, this is The Prestige meets Avatar. And I'm going to tell you why. Kyle's laughing at me.
I'm putting it together in my head.
Because The Prestige, it just looks something that was, the transported man, if you know The Prestige, and if you don't know The Prestige, my God, you should. But it was just this illusion, this whole bunch of illusions and what is real and what isn't. And the moment in the trailer where they pull him out of the mind machine and he's like, wake up, you got to get out of there. I was like, well, that's Avatar, right? And I said to myself, what a weird mashup of movies. It's Hugh Jackman. I'm going to watch it.
Yeah,
of course.
It's a little bit Assassin's Creed as well, I guess. Because except he's going back into his own memories, not his ancestors' memories. But yeah.
No, good pick.
When does that come out?
The date on that one is August 20th. And again, HBO Max and in theaters. So You've got some choices.
And that's a late addition to the HBO Max slate, right? Because
it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when they did that first list at the start of the year, I don't think that this was mentioned in it.
No, not at all. All right.
So, Dune opened up a slot. So,
there's that.
News only now.
Yes.
So there's a little bit of news if you weren't planning on that.
Right.
All right. So those are our trailers.
Nice.
So let's talk about a little game something I put together. I started thinking about this week, and being that it is Danish Constitution Day, my thoughts turned to Hamlet. But don't worry, this is not a Shakespearean trivia contest. Instead, I started thinking about the actors who have taken on the melancholy Dane, the dutiful son of a slain king, on film. We got Kenneth Branagh, we got Mel Gibson, Laurence Olivier, Ethan Hawke, all dudes, all white, all straight. And it's Pride Month, so why not let some other worthy actors take on the role? So I'm putting you two in the shoes of a casting director putting together a new film adaptation of Hamlet. You'll need to pick from these 16 worthy contenders. I really wanted to do 8, but I kept adding more and I couldn't stop. So I have picked 16 actors who are LGBTQ.
Nice.
And so I want you to pick which of these you think would make the best Hamlet. All that. Now, I think all of these actually would be amazing Hamlets. But I think we're going to go to you two are going to go and determine who it is that will be the top. So, as sexuality is a spectrum, I've tried to provide people from all the letters of LGBTQIPSAA. Which I found out about today. So that's lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, questioning, queer, intersex, pansexual, two-spirit, androgynous, and asexual. So I did not get a representation from every single one of those because I was also going for name recognition because I didn't want to have to spend a lot of time with us IMDbing so we could all remember. So as always, my choices are both capricious and arbitrary, and I left off a lot of really good people. So this is not meant to be definitive. It's just really great people. And the only caveat my daughter, who's incredibly woke, put on me is, you are not allowed to put on Neil Patrick Harris. I said, okay. So
thank you.
Sorry, Judy, you'll have to sit this one out. All right. So we will start with this is our Sweet 16 here. So who do you think would be the best Hamlet of all of these? So our first competition is between Elliot Page and Ezra Miller.
Oh, wow. Out of the gate.
I know, right? As soon as I said Elliot Page, I'm like, I want to see Elliot Page Hamlet so bad now.
But Ezra Miller, because going back to things I've watched, this past weekend I did the whole Batman versus Superman Ultimate Edition and Zack Snyder, Justice League.
Yeah. So, wow. 7 hours of your life right there.
Yes, exactly. And I had a great time, but I was like,
nice.
Ezra Miller, that's I love that dude. Because I also
he's got a weird energy to him.
He does.
Because
have you guys seen We Need to Talk About Kevin?
No.
It was one of his first roles. Oh man, dark, disturbing, withdrawn, and for me that gives him a slight edge. Although I love Elliot Page and the breadth of work there. But I think when it comes to the brooding, I think I got to go with Ezra Miller on that one.
Oh, okay. Rob.
I agree with everything. There is a part, well, I will tell you this. No, I'll go with Ezra Miller too. But the reason why is because as much as there's a huge curiosity then of seeing, well, how does Elliot Page then, what would he do, right? With the role? Ezra Miller, because that body of work that I can look at, Ezra Miller.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Ezra Miller advances on. Flashes into the second round. All right. Our next lineup, Kristen Stewart or Zachary Quinto.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what's cool about this is everyone you think of, you go like, oh. Yeah.
Well, this is such a wow. What a high bar matchup here you have. This was
right.
Yeah. I'm gonna say again based on scope of work, I'm gonna say Zachary Quinto. Kids, that's how you say it, right?
Oh,
yeah.
Quinto. Yeah.
Quinto.
As far as I know.
Yes. Yes. Right.
I try to do my homework, but
nice.
Okay, when you say breadth of work, I know Heroes and Star Trek. What else am I? So I've got Spock in my head, and I'm like,
that's it. It's actually based on Spock.
I was like, Spock Hamlet.
Well,
is that what you're
because
going
I haven't
for?
seen. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you, and I haven't seen.
Have you been watching
Twilight.
Invincible?
Oh, okay. Well, I've watched the
Invincible?
I've watched the first 2 episodes.
Okay, he's Robot.
Oh, okay. Oh,
and
all
you
right.
didn't know, so that should go a long way towards.
There you
You know,
I'm just
his
horrible with
status.
voice recognition, but yeah, no, I'm going to concur with that one because I think there's a when it comes to Hamlet, there's a darkness that I think he can. Yeah, we'll go with him.
Okay,
all right.
Zachary moves on.
You put me on the spot, though. That was good. What are
You
you
want
talking about?
Spock Hamlet? That's okay.
That's actually,
Come on.
that's what I'm talking about. Spock.
Will he prosper in the second round? We'll see. All right, our next thing, we're going across the board to a couple of funny ladies who also can bring the heat if they need to. From Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Stephanie Beatrice versus Kate McKinnon.
Oh.
We know they can be funny, but they can
Yes.
also be serious.
Yes, they can.
Oh, Steve, you go first because we'll alternate.
Wow, this is a tough one.
Well, it's a tough one because I will just say there's an answer for me that immediately I wanted to say, but then I'm like, well, no, think it through.
Mm-hmm.
And there is more to think it through, right? Because both of them, you're bringing that is a Hamlet. There's got to be a comedic element. Like you just have to because their timing is so good.
Tragedy and
especially,
comedy,
especially when he's putting an antic disposition on.
Yes. Immediately, I think, Kate McKinnon, but then it's like, no. Some of the wackiest comedians, you think you're Jim Carrey,
right.
your Robin Williams, can really go into that deeply serious side. And I just haven't, because I haven't seen it. I would be curious, but it's so foreign. I'm kind of curious to see what Stephanie would bring to that. That's where I'm going to go. I'm going to go with the opposite of what I would assume would be the correct answer.
Oh, because that's exactly what
really?
I was.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, but I kind of want to see Kate McKinnon do that. No, I'm going to go Kate McKinnon. Kyle, you're going to have to you're gonna have to tie break it.
All right.
Interesting. I actually had the same thought too. I was thinking about, and I think if you ever see Stephanie Beatrice in any other role or in an interview, you'll find out how much of a transformation Rosa Diaz is.
Right.
So I think knowing that, I think I would like to see what she could do. So I'm going to put Stephanie Beatrice.
Oh, she was in Short Term 12. Okay. All right. Have you guys seen Short Term 12?
No, that keeps coming up.
No.
Oh my gosh, you guys need to see Short Term 12. Because it's one of these films you look at and you're like, oh my gosh, everybody is in this film. I mean, so you've got Brie Larson, John Gallagher Jr., Stephanie Beatrice, Rami Malek. Who else? We've got Lakeith Stanfield in there. I mean, it's you watch this and go, they were all in this movie together? What? Yes, I forgot she was in that. Yeah, no, that helps. Yeah, we're right. We got it, Kyle. We're right.
We're right. Rob,
yes,
what do you think?
Rob.
I don't know. Modern Family. I thought of Modern Family when she comes in on that. Never mind.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right. Our next one is sometimes you just put James together and you get magic. There's no thing that connects these two except that I think it's really funny to put them against each other. Evan Rachel Wood and Titus Burgess. Titus Burgess, of course, from 30 Rock.
No, I have to go Evan Rachel Wood. Yes.
And,
yes.
Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
No, I'm gonna go with Titus.
Westworld.
No, Titus belongs in Titus Andronicus if you're going to put him in any Shakespeare.
Well,
there you go.
So I'm sorry, Steve. Who did you pick?
I picked Evan Rachel Wood.
yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna. So I'm settling the.
You're settling this one.
Okay, yeah. So I think I'm gonna have to go with Evan Rachel Wood too, just because I think there's nothing she can't do.
Well, I mean, these are not, man. There's no.
Right?
I mean, there's no wrong answer, but
there are, Rob, and you keep picking them. That's fine.
I knew I was setting you up.
Okay. All right. We got
That was good.
a couple of franchise players. We have Wentworth Miller or B.D. Wong. Wentworth Miller, of course, from Prison Break and from Legends of Tomorrow, where he played Captain Cold. And B.D. Wong, who was probably, he's been in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
but most recently, I would say Jurassic World. Jurassic Park and then Jurassic World.
Right. Because I love the way B.D. Wong, I mean, when he shows up in Father of the Bride, and I know that's just, but it really, I'm going to go with B.D. Wong.
And you are correct.
Oh,
that's the way to go.
I was going to say, if that was going to be a thing, I love Wentworth Miller. Wentworth Miller.
Right.
No, but B.D. Wong, I think is the clear. It's obvious here. Yes. Next lineup is Anna Paquin or Sarah Ramirez. Anna Paquin obviously was from the X-Men franchise and True Blood. And Sarah Ramirez from Grey's Anatomy. And she also did a good stint on Broadway.
And I'm not familiar with Sarah.
She does not get enough work. That's part of the problem.
Yeah. Oh, so I'm a little bit
biased. Yes.
Well,
underinformed. There's a couple of people I think Sarah Ramirez people need to hire her. She is amazing.
Yeah,
she
but
just doesn't want to work as much.
But she's going up okay, so you mentioned Anna Paquin. You mentioned those things. You don't mention the piano.
I didn't mention the piano just because the one thing she won an Oscar for. Why should we talk about that? I'm talking about True Blood. The thing people actually watched.
Oh, right. Oh, wow.
Controversial take 20 years later.
Okay. We need to do a whole conversation about the piano and our experiences with that movie.
Okay. Yes. I saw it in the theater and I loved it. But of course, I'm a Terrence Malick fan. I'm going to go into those.
Sure.
Domains. But no, Anna Paquin. And again, I think she's just got the range and I would love to see her tackle that.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, Anna Paquin moves on. Okay, our next lineup: Wilson Cruz or Lena Waithe. So Wilson Cruz, obviously from Star Trek Discovery, and one of the foremost, or one of the original cast members of Rent. So Broadway royalty. Lena Waithe from Master of None. She was in Westworld.
And I haven't seen Master of None.
Yeah.
I think we go with the precedent that Rob said earlier, and anybody in Star Trek just gets the role.
And you are right on this one. You are correct. Yes.
All right, Wilson Cruz moves on. I have no problems with that. And a last lineup of the first round is Tessa Thompson versus Billy Porter.
Oh, dude! Wait a minute!
Two winners. You can't go wrong, and you're going to go wrong. Because no matter who you choose, you're going to lose, and you're going to win. Tessa Thompson, of course, was Valkyrie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And also, she's done a ton of stuff. Billy Porter, of course, Pose. And
I didn't realize Billy...
And a Residence in Our Heart.
Right. And because we binged American Horror Story a few months ago here in the household, and I didn't realize how much he was in that too.
Yeah, a lot of people. I'm just doing thumbnails. These people have long, distinguished resumes. Yeah. So forgive me if I'm not mentioning the thing that you know them from, audience.
I want to say Tessa.
Yes, you do.
Yeah,
that is correct.
All right.
From Men in Black International
or Annihilation.
Everybody's got to pay the bills. Yeah,
or Creed. All
right. So that's first round done.
All right.
All right. Second round. This should be easier and more difficult at the same time. So our first is Ezra Miller or Zachary Quinto, Flash or Spock. Who is your Hamlet?
Flash.
No, on that one, I agree.
Ezra again. Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think these two have ever been up for the same role. B.D. Wong or Anna Paquin. Though they both look great in a dress.
True.
B.D. Wong had a famous role.
I'm going to say B.D. Wong.
Yes.
All right.
I would like
now we're on the same page.
Yes.
Wait, watch for the next one.
Stephanie Beatrice or Evan Rachel Wood.
Oh, I'm going to go with Evan Rachel Wood.
Oh, no, Stephanie.
Oh, interesting.
There you go.
Okay. Split the vote. All right. I love Stephanie Beatrice, but Evan Rachel Wood, man, I just can't stop thinking about that.
It's okay, because we just know Rob is wrong.
Such a loser.
Okay. Wilson Cruz or Tessa Thompson.
Oh.
Wow, this did not get easier.
No, it didn't. Because in addition to Star Trek, I mean, you go way back with Wilson Cruz. You go to My So-Called Life and all of that going on in there.
Absolutely.
And that's...
Yeah.
But I do want to... Tessa Thompson, I think. I want to see that. Now I'm into the mode of what would I want to see?
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Tessa.
And I agree. Yes.
All right. Tessa Thompson, move on. All right. Final four. Ezra Miller or B.D. Wong.
Oh,
I'm at Ezra Miller.
Yeah. When you really think about it, no, I agree. Yeah. Okay. Ezra Miller. Oh, this gets an interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Evan Rachel Wood or Tessa Thompson?
I'm still going to go with Tessa.
And I'm still going to go with Evan.
Oh,
Rachel.
see,
Rachel.
Well, there we know. All right. So it's Ezra versus Evan.
Yeah, it's true. All right. Yeah. So our is E versus E. Ezra versus Evan. Ezra Miller or Evan Rachel Wood. Who is your Hamlet?
Well, now you go. Go ahead. I'll.
For me, there's no right or wrong answer in this because I think either of them would
great
be.
About this is
no matter
what
both of these really, I think, would do something really unique and different with it. But I'll go with Ezra Miller.
Ooh, okay, Kyle, you're gonna have to do it because now you guys brought me on
to
Evan Rachel Wood. So there you go. It's your call.
Kyle, it's your
I know
name.
that's the thing.
You can't be wrong.
I have
so there you go.
Yeah, you can't.
But I gotta say, I would. I say this is the concession I'll make. Evan Rachel Wood as Hamlet, Ezra as and like basically to put him in as one. I'm trying to think of who the best there's to be Mercutio. No.
Oh, you're thinking of like Laertes or something like that?
I'm trying to think it would be better.
Yeah.
To like put him in like as a foil. But
true. Yeah.
Yeah, Laertes would be pretty good. So, but that's all secondary because our Hamlet for 2021 is Evan Rachel Wood.
There we go. I'm fine with that.
Well done.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I forgot to say I was calling that the Unpack My Heart Elimination Challenge.
Oh.
So thank you all for participating. But
nice.
That's not what they came here to see. That was just bonus stuff. They're here for the list game. So we were challenged by our listeners to do movies set in the Pacific Northwest. Woo! How thrilling. Okay.
Yes. Yep.
Like sometimes you get movies that sound like porn titles, and sometimes you get movies set in the Pacific Northwest, but it's what the people demanded, so it's what we do. So I had the first trailer, so I get to go first. Mine is a little film from 2000 that not a lot of people saw, because even though it starred the star of one of the biggest franchises of all time, and that's called Horns, starring Harry Potter himself.
Oh, yeah.
Directed by Alexandra Aja. It's written by Keith Bunnan, based on Joe Hill's novel, who is also the son of Stephen King. It's about a guy who grows horns, and then everybody confesses their sins to him. It's a weird, dark fantasy set in the Pacific Northwest. You have to have a bit of a strong constitution to go through it, because it is from the DNA of Stephen King in a way. But that's my first one.
That's one that it always shows up and I'm like, I don't know if I feel like that today. And it's like I always just scroll past.
I'm
I'm like,
in a mood for it. You can see the poster and go, oh, okay, yeah, I get what that's about. So yeah, Harry Potter goes dark.
Yes.
So if you want to see Daniel Radcliffe, step into the bad side.
So then he becomes Daniel Badcliffe?
Ooh.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, no. He's always rad.
Oh, my God.
Cliff. All right. So I think, Rob, you got in there next.
Okay, I go next. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, here's the deal. I don't know what to tell you about my picks this week. 'Cause they're all over the place. But I wasn't.
Are they all set in the Pacific Northwest?
Yeah, they're
not all over the place. They're in the Pacific Northwest.
They're in the Pacific, especially there. Then specifically, they're all Oregon. So there you go. Right.
Okay.
Wait a minute. When this is the first movie I thought of. One of my favorite movies of all time. I go in and I'm like, well, there's no way I can pick this because I'll go in and search the Next Real Film Podcast Cyclomatic 3000 and it won't be, it'll be there. No, This movie's not in the database. I don't know how it is not in the database. Oh. And in looking for it, I learned something that I did not even know about this movie for all the years I've ever seen it. That's right. I'm talking about the 1978 American comedy film directed by John Landis, written by Harold Ramis, Douglas Kenney, and Chris Miller, Animal House.
Oh? What?
Right?
I thought that was on the East Coast.
No. Oh, no. Now we're somewhere. Did you know that Faber College is the University of Oregon, Eugene?
Oh. No. Okay.
So, and there's a whole story about this. So first of all, I don't have to talk about the movie, but there's two, except there are two things I'm going to talk about, things I didn't realize.
Okay.
Number one, it takes place University of Oregon. The main reason why they got there is because for whatever reason, site location, the shoot, everything, time of year, they refused to have permission for The Graduate to film there in 1967. And then they come in with the Animal House and they're like, oh yeah, well, we missed out on that. So yeah, you can definitely film that movie here. I don't think they realized what was happening.
Oh no.
So that's number one. Number two. So you remember when basically Flounder and Pinto and Boone, they go and they take their dates from like Dickinson College, I think, and they go to the club, right, where Otis is playing. And all these years, because this was what you hear, I thought he said, welcome to the Destillet Club, right? No, you know what the name of the place is? It's the Dexter Lake Club. And I never knew that. It's a real place that actually exists. Totally blew my mind.
Okay.
Last thing, this movie, over the course of its run, has made somewhere along the lines of, I think, $141 million. Do you know what the budget was for Animal House?
And this is in 1970.
Okay, but I mean, it's still not, you're not even going to believe it. $3 million.
Wow. That would translate to probably like, what, 12 now?
Okay, but I mean
it's under $20 million movie.
Still, you got your John Belushi money in there. You got to be paying him and his habit
that's right.
at the time.
Well, I mean,
and still that budget.
That was under catering.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
You had to make a Deathmobile. You had to do so many different things.
Yes.
I just couldn't believe it. And really, here's the deal. If you haven't watched Animal House in a while, watch it.
Kevin Bacon.
Amazing. There you go. Animal House.
Right. Good one.
All right. Steve, what do you got?
We're not going to have any steals today.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Because I looked and I was like, okay, I got mine. And I'm like, these are obscure. I mean, they're movies that are dear to my heart. That I don't, you may or may not have seen any of these because, I know my first pick is one that probably not many people have seen because it came and went very quickly in theaters. It was on, I think, Showtime for a while if you had your subscription to Showtime. But it's a really interesting film that has a very odd framing structure because the first part is there's a woman out walking her dog. They're out on the shore and the dog's sniffing around. She starts digging and unearths these two skeletons laying side by side. And then we get a flashback to now we're way back in time. We're with fur trappers in Oregon, in the Oregon Territory. And we've got our main character who's a cook that befriends a Chinese immigrant, and they come up with this whole scam, and they're cooking up these little biscuits and selling them to make money, to survive, and hopefully saving up enough money to move on. In Kelly Reichardt's 2019 film, First Cow.
Wow.
Which is...
Never even heard of that.
It's simple story because there's one cow in town that a wealthy guy owns, and they go and steal milk in the middle of the night for their biscuits, and that's what makes the biscuits taste so good because most people don't have access to milk. Short film. It's no, it's not a short film. It feels short. It's 2 hours, but it's such a tight story. It's one I highly recommend because it's just there's not a lot to it, but it's just really, really entertaining.
Yes, First Cow is definitely not on my list.
No.
That's a great pick. I remember seeing the trailer for that. And we wanted to see it, but we never got around to it. I think something happened in 2020. I forget what it was.
Yeah,
but
it's
all a blur.
But that's a great pick.
All right, so back to the top. That's just me. So my next one is another little, I think, underseen film. It's kind of about time travel, but it's more about people dealing with it. And of course, the director went on to have a strong franchise showing. From 2012, it's Safety Not Guaranteed.
Oh, yes.
Which is directed by Colin Trevorrow, who almost directed a Star Wars movie, but things happened. But, he's okay with dinosaurs, so everything is fine. Aubrey Plaza, Mark Duplass, and I forgot Jake Johnson is in that, too. That's and set in the Pacific Northwest. It's a fun little movie. Low budget.
It's a good one.
High on concept.
It feels like a small little, thing, and then you get to the end and it goes, what is going on? Yes.
That's right. It's like this weird indie kind of thing, and then at the end it kind of takes off in a new direction. Yes. You kind of go, okay. Nice. So back to you, Rob.
Okay, so again, sticking with my Oregon theme. This movie takes place in Portland, Oregon. For those of you who are educators and you want to know that your life's work as an educator is not wasted and that it's meaningful and that maybe at the same time you're trying to concoct your world-changing symphony. That's right.
I'm crying already.
I'm
not crying.
Oh my
You're
God,
crying.
come
Hearing
on.
the music.
Yes.
Beautiful boy.
Oh, you know what you're
Kills
talking
me
about.
every time.
Yeah, I'm talking about Richard Dreyfuss, 1995's Mr. Holland's Opus. I mean, I was scratching at the wait till you see my third pick. Hey, listen, if anybody thinks, wow, Rob, what are you doing today? Just wait. But this movie is tender. Does it hold up? I don't know. Haven't seen it in a long, long time. But it's Richard Dreyfuss.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
Okay. No, that's enough said.
That's
Indeed.
That's my catchphase. You can't do that.
Sorry, didn't mean to end the show early. I'm sorry.
Bye.
All right.
All right, Steve. Hondo.
Yeah, there we go. So I'm also in the Portland area for this one. This was a little film that came out in the late 80s. I was working in the video store and saw this one because, hey, I like Matt Damon in a movie, and it's a quirky little film from a director you may have heard from, Gus Van Sant, with Matt Damon, Kelly Lynch, a little film called Drugstore Cowboy. Which has a great moment with you cast, notorious beat writer and drug addict William S. Burroughs with a great line of dialogue saying basically that I believe right wingers are going to use drug hysteria to enforce a police state in the future. You're predicting the future there, good old Bill Burroughs. But this is a fun little film. My brother and I quote it all the time. You never put a hat on the bed. You never look at the backside of a mirror. All these quirky superstitions as you follow Bob, played by Matt Dillon, and his little crew robbing drugstores up in Portland.
He's a drugstore cowboy. Oh, gee. All right. So while you two have been picking films that are near and dear to your hearts, my last one is a film that nearly destroyed me. Oh. So in my desert island years from 2000 to about 2010, or when I worked as a projectionist at a movie theater. So I was lead projectionist. So from that time period, I saw pretty much everything that came out if it was a wide mainstream release, because this was a 16-screen multiplex. And at the time when I first started, it was like that proverbial kid in the candy store. I watched everything because I could. So I get to have a private showing of every movie that came out. And so I did. Until I got to this movie, and it was so egregious and awful, it broke me. And I realized I can't do this to myself anymore. I am doing more injury than I am good. And I had to start getting a little pickier about the movies that I had to watch. And it's from 2003. It's called The Hunted, starring Tommy Lee Jones and Benicio del Toro, directed by William Friedkin. And with a resume like that, you think it'd be great. It's not. It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. And I found out one of the reasons behind this was that it was during the writer's strike. So they were actually shooting on a first draft script, and they couldn't make any changes to it. So they did what they could, and it is not good. If you ever want to know why Tommy Lee Jones had a bad reputation, this is one of the reasons why. Because if he's not being directed in the way he likes, he has some really bad habits, and they are all on display in The Hunted. But even if you're curious, just don't watch it.
But it's got a 6.1 on IMDb. It's got a 6.1.
That's the. Yes. I think it's the Benicio bump. The
Benicio
everything's
bump?
in it just gets a little. Yeah. It hurts. It hurts even remembering it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Prepare yourselves.
Okay.
Number 1. Do you like creative uses of melted candle wax? Number 2. Do you like to be restrained by your own belt? Number 3, do you never want to look at parking structures the same way ever again? If the answer to all 3 of those questions is yes, then you, my friend, will want to watch 1993's American erotic thriller, Body of Evidence.
Oh.
I don't.
No, you don't.
Want to.
Hey, listen,
I don't want to watch that.
Listen, everybody. I mean, this is what I got. There's nothing else. I had an eyes wide shut comment at the beginning. I'm closing here with Body of Evidence. This is where I'm at.
That's the Madonna.
That's the Madonna. That's her 4th role. It probably could have been the last. Well, no, Dick Tracy. Never mind. No, it just
we wouldn't have gotten swept away then.
You wouldn't have gotten.
That's true.
Body of evidence, everyone.
We're dealing with a lot of trauma here.
Body of evidence, which I don't know how do you describe body of evidence if no one who's ever seen it.
Well, you describe it as IMDb says: a lawyer defends a woman accused of killing her older lover by having sex with him. That's how you describe it.
It's the
4.
movie.
5.
That movie came out that's the movie that basically the short meeting is this basic instinct is going crazy. What can we do?
Yes, it is.
We got Madonna. Let's make the movie.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, that's all I got.
Wow. That's
sorry. And it takes place in Oregon, Portland.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
Bring us home.
So,
Yeah,
pal,
please.
you brought a movie that destroyed you.
Yes.
I'm bringing a film that destroyed me, but in a different way. And it's one that, since we all have daughters, it's one I'm going to highly recommend to both of you. It's one I've talked about on Trailer Rewind. I may have mentioned it before as a pick on a list before, but I don't care because this is the story of a father and his 13-year-old daughter that are living an ideal existence in a vast urban park in Portland, Oregon, when a small mistake derails their lives forever in 2018's Leave No Trace with Thomasin McKenzie, who is in Edgar Wright's newest film, and Ben Foster. He is a veteran going through some PTSD and cannot cope with living a normal life. So they live a secluded sort of homeless life in the woods. And his daughter is getting of age where she's wants to be part of society. And it's the struggle between the both of them. And it is a powerful, powerful film that I watched with my daughter. And I encourage you to watch with yours. It will break your heart and bring on the tears and destroy you.
Okay.
You're like, yeah, sign me up for that.
Excellent.
Horns first, then eyes wide shut.
Yes.
Well, okay. I didn't say that. Let me just
Quite
say
a film
something.
festival we put together here.
I don't know if everyone remembers. I have a peculiar movie selection that I watch movies with my daughter. Eyes Wide Shut, Body of Evidence, not making that list at all.
No.
All right. Leave No Trace. Done.
Yeah.
Excellent.
All right, Leave No Trace. All right, so those are our picks for the week. So that means we need to inflict our pain on the next group of people. So we need to pick what the topic will be that the audience will choose for next week. So next week they're working on the number 4 in the Lynn Shelton series, the late, great Lynn Shelton, Outside In. So there's a bunch of different options. I've not seen the film, so I'm going off of the list that was provided for me. So there's a couple things that we could choose.
Well, let's look at who we're cursing next week.
Okay, let's see. Who are we cursing next week?
Who do we want to play
Our
nice
next
with,
week's host will be Pete Wright is returning to this big chair. And then he is joined by the handsomest man in podcasting, Tommy Metz, and our own siren of the podcast, Mandy Kaplan.
Okay. All right. So how mean do we want to be?
That's a lot of star power right there.
That is. So I have to think about this because I haven't seen this either. And I'm looking at this list thinking, people who get around on bicycles?
How about this?
What are you guys doing? You're setting us up to be hated by the next round of hosts.
I was going to say, why don't we get creative and be like people who use bicycles to get out of prison because they fell for their teacher.
Yeah.
Because I have not seen this either. I'm like, I don't know. I do not know.
No. I don't know. I sort of, as I looked at the list, I thought they have awkwardly having your affair found out by your spouse. I thought just awkward affairs would be a good one because that sort of opens up a little bit more possibility.
Yes.
I agree.
Yes. So that's the first.
There we go. Good one.
Suggestion.
Yes.
The people who get around on bicycles.
That's the legendary people on bicycles. There's so many documentaries made about them.
Do you know, I got to tell you something though, but hey, listen, you realize the bullet we all dodged. I mean, Pacific Northwest movies, we could have had having sex with your friend's parent.
Well, yes.
I don't know how that didn't get picked, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I think they were looking favorably upon us and thinking, well, these guys have daughters. They can't watch these films with their family.
Right.
This is not appropriate.
Let's not give anyone a choice of looking favorably on anyone.
Yes.
Let's just give.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, then there's
falling for your teacher just is okay.
Yeah.
Yes. That's just cringy all around.
Right.
Yeah.
People who covertly do art, and then the clarification is a character in this film breaks into people's houses and creates interesting tape art on their furniture, or we're taping up their furniture and interesting sculptures. So I was thinking of like graffiti artists, etc. I'm like, okay, so I guess I looking at
can think of one movie.
Yes, exactly. So that's why I'm looking more favorably on maybe broken mother-daughter relationships. You know, that gives them something to work with there.
Okay, I like that one. I
That's
think
good.
A couple of those came to mind. So broken mother-daughter relationships, I'll put that there.
Well, and I actually like, the breaking and entering, because that's a definitive crime, right?
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Just straight up breaking and entering?
Breaking and entering to fall for your teacher after you've been released from prison.
I didn't mean that specific. I meant like breaking and entering, but not to steal, or if you wanted to clarify anything. But breaking and entering
just breaking and entering. There, you're welcome, next week's crew.
Yes.
There you go.
Pay it forward.
See?
So, and on you're declaring to yourself, mine hale and hearty friends, I sure hadst a swell time listening to thy weird games and list making, but how canst I become involved and keep thine madness flowing into mine own ear holes? Forsooth, 'tis quite simple. Just wend thy way to nextreel.com/membership and sign up. For a mere $1 a month, dead for a ducat, thee can become a one-reeler and receive access to yon Discord server. And I thank you for your pains and courtesy. But holdest off! They say if money goes before, all ways do lie open. Then, most generous patron, if thee be true and up thy monthly donation, thee can transform thyself into a two-reeler, and cast thy gaze towards our live streams as our words are said, and thee shall receiveth early access to new episodes of our shows in thy very own private podcast feed. Plus, super secret member channels on Discord like the auspicious Show Talk channel. Why place such import upon the Show Talk channel? Bend thine ear, and I shall impart to thee. If thee wish to vote in next week's poll, the only lodging in which thee can do so is on very same Show Talk channel. Monthly schmonthly, I heareth thee say. I have put money in my purse, and neither a borrower nor a lender shall I be. Then valorous news, thee can anon giveth an annual donation for any level. I have a kind soul that would give you thanks. You great benefactors, sprinkle our society with thankfulness. For your own gifts make yourselves praised. A boon shall to thee I extend, if thee wend to thenextreel.com/letterboxd, and thee can upgrade thy Letterboxd account to Pro or Patron with a 20% off discount, e'en for renewals. This above all, to thine own self be true, and it must follow as the night the day, thou canst not then be false to any man. And that's our show! Thank you for sitting through all of that. This has been Saturday Matinee. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Steve.
You're welcome.
We will see you next time, further on up the road. The rest is silence. Enough said.
Bye.
Hondo.